Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to do a different type of video this week by showing you guys what I eat when I'm working from home because I honestly love what I eat. I like romanticize about it all the time because I make food that makes me feel good. So I love having fruit in the morning and I like to add protein powder to my breakfast if I'm not having eggs, and oatmeal is usually my go-to, but this time I wanted to make granola on the stovetop, and I found this recipe on Instagram, so I decided to try it, and you basically put it on top of a parfait. So I use this foodie non-fat Greek yogurt, and I feel like it's packed with a ton of protein for myself. And I also had some vanilla bean oat milk yogurt already in my fridge that was open. I didn't want it to go to waste, so I brought it out and mixed it in, and then I always like to add berries on top. When I was doing that, I noticed that the granola was not granoling at all. So I kept mixing it around. While it was still on the stovetop, I put in some fruit on top, trying to make it look as pretty as possible. So I got these berries at Whole Foods. The oats were not getting crunchy at all, so I figured maybe butter would help. It's in a non-stick pan. As you could see, I wasn't really having that much luck with it. Eventually, it did kind of turn into granola, so I put it onto my parfait, and honestly, it tasted pretty good. Not sure if I would do it again though. I also feel like I just discovered almond butter, so I love putting it on top, and I couldn't live without it. I always like to follow up my breakfast with more fruit. I literally munch on maybe 5 cuties as I'm just working. Also, does anyone else consider fruit to be fast food? Because you can literally just pick up an apple or a banana and start eating it. For lunch later that day, I wanted to have some tea to warm myself up. And the star of this whole video are my salads. So I'm putting together a bunch of vegetables I have left over in my fridge, and I really like to saute whatever I have, and it's the seasoning that really makes it so divine. So I always like putting turmeric, ginger, some smoked paprika, and I have been really digging cherry tomatoes lately. I have them fresh in my salad, or sometimes I'll throw them onto the stove and I'll have a nice tomato reduction, and the tricolors are just really beautiful to look at when you're eating. Tea was finally ready, so I had a ginger turmeric tea with some honey, and I have this really cute mug from Heidi that changes colors as it gets warmer. I love it. And then I had romaine lettuce already chopped up, so I use that as my bed of salad, where I then put on that broccoli with the mushrooms and cherry tomatoes. I also don't have a microwave because I don't know why, but I had salmon put on the stove that was already cooked. I just needed to warm it up. And then I had this lentil spinach mix from Whole Foods that I really love. It has like a Mediterranean taste to it. I put my avocado and my salmon, and honestly, it had so much flavor. I also don't ever eat salad dressing. I don't know if anyone's the same way, but I like to squeeze fresh lemon, and I find that to be so much better. Okay, the next morning I wanted another fresh breakfast, but I wanted to change it up, so I decided to make an omelet. And with those cherry tomatoes, I reduced them to a reduction on the stove, and I feel like it really helps bring out just the taste of the mushroom. This is my favorite base for an omelet, so I'm getting all my favorite spices, and I used 2 eggs, and I'll also have in water when I'm whisking the eggs just to make it a bit more thin so it can really fill up the pan. So I'll have it sit on low so that it gets a bit thick enough so I can actually flip my omelet, and I have spinach on one side. I also realized as I was trying to have this flip, I seriously still cannot flip an omelet for my life. I'm struggling quite hard, and they always turn into scramble. It honestly still tastes good. They taste exactly the same. Maybe as I get older, I'll actually be able to flip an omelet. It just comes as you get older, that technique. And then I had some cilantro from my garden, and I finished it up with avocado. Okay, for lunch, I yet again had another salad, but I changed up the toppings that I put inside. So I'm just going through my fridge and again, just scourging for whatever I have left. I decided to put in some potatoes. So I had this white potato and I just crisped it up onto the stove, and I'm putting in turmeric. Again, I love it for its anti-inflammatory benefits, and then garlic, really just to bring out the taste, and paprika. I don't know if you've noticed though, I don't cook with salt. I just have this weird thing against having salt. And I used garbanzo beans as protein. Also, canned food and canned beans will always be put in sodium to help it last longer, so I always rinse it first. So I put it onto the stove to make it crispy, and I had quinoa left over, so I added that in. I also realized I didn't have that many greens other than a salad, so I had these frozen peas and carrots that I just put onto the stove. As I had that cook, I just filled up my platter with all the stuff that has been cooking. And the peas, I really just had them steamed, nothing crazy. I also have this red onion that's been soaking in vinegar, and I just added lemon on top and ate the rest of it as I finished up my workday. My snack later that day was a banana and an orange. Again, I just cannot help myself but eat fruit throughout my day, so that always gives me a nice boost of energy and some refreshment. Okay, on Wednesday, I really just wanted to have my comfort breakfast, and that is good old oatmeal. So I always like to have a really ripe banana smashed into it. I don't like to put honey or brown sugar. I find that the more natural sugar of a banana is better. And I take any rolled oats I have. I do a tablespoon of chia seeds, and I like to literally kind of in a way bake in apples, and I put cinnamon on top. It gives this really aromatic, like baked apple pie smell to it. I also put some protein powder onto it that was dark chocolate flavored, put on my berries from Whole Foods, and then a dollop of yogurt so I can have that hot, cold taste and texture to it. Ooh, and then I had that crunchy almond butter that I used earlier on Monday. I'm just really big into texture, so I put, of course, more chopped almonds on top also. I wanted a snack later that day. Instead of fruit, I was craving some fresh carrots, and I had guacamole from Whole Foods too, and I don't eat chips. I know, I'm crazy. So to get that crunchy taste when I'm having guacamole is by cutting up carrots, and then I mixed in half an avocado with the guacamole, and then I put in my red onions that have been sitting in vinegar, and it gave it a really nice chili tangy taste to it alongside with that lemon squeezed in, and that was my snack for the day. I yet again had another really yummy salad. I had a spring mix that I had to pick through to make sure I didn't have any bad lettuces jumping inside of my dish, and I had potatoes that I wanted to crisp up on the stove again using the same seasoning as last time. I ended up wanting my potatoes to be a lot more crispy, and so I got that by putting them into the air fryer. So I had them pop in for maybe 3 minutes because they were already boiled the night before, and I also made the night before this cauliflower head in the oven. It's one of my favorite dishes to make these days, and I had turmeric, cumin, black pepper, garlic on top, and I popped it into the air fryer with the potatoes too, so it had a nice crispiness to it. Veggies are ready after being in the air fryer for maybe 5 minutes, and they were the perfect amount of crispiness. The cauliflower roasted recipe also calls for a turmeric tahini sauce, and so I had a lot left over from last night, and it is one of my favorite sauces that I love making at home, and it goes with everything. The next morning, I wanted to have my oats again, but I want to enjoy it differently. So I decided to make a parfait using literally 3 different yogurts because I was just running out of yogurt towards the end of the week. So I had the fage, and then I used the vanilla bean oat milk yogurt with some full fat yogurt. I don't really like this one. This is my boyfriend's. I don't enjoy the taste of it, but anyways, I used it and it had some good protein in it. I like to put protein powder in this as well, and I used a different one today. This is also a chocolate flavored protein powder, and when I mix in the oats, I like to do that first and have it sit as I cut up all my fruits because it gives the oats a nice texture when you have them kind of soak in the moisture of the yogurt. You will always see me using apples and bananas whenever I'm making oatmeal or a parfait. I feel like it's those fruits that are always going to be my staple fruits that I keep in my kitchen and in my fruit basket. It's so easy to grab and they don't go bad easily. And then I had berries left over. Topped it off with some almond butter that I am just so in love with. This was my first time getting the crunchy ones from Trader Joe's, and I'm definitely going to keep getting it. The next day, I had a doctor's appointment. Right across from it is Mendocino Farms and Sweetgreen, so I was really conflicted